1,200. That's how many Australian BYD owners were just offered a full refund, because the car they were sold wasn't the car they thought they bought. Here's the sharpest part. BYD's own paperwork told these buyers their car was a 2026 build. It wasn't. It rolled off the factory floor in 2025, and nobody caught it until a customer checked it themselves. Picture the version of this that plays out on owner forums every week. Someone rings up to insure a brand new ute. The insurer asks for the build date, and suddenly the numbers on the contract don't match the numbers on the car. That's not a rare glitch. That's the paperwork lying to your face. That's not an outlier. That's the documented reality of buying a BYD in Australia right now. The Shark 6 was sold as a proper rival to the Ranger and the HiLux. On paper, it can't even match them. 790 kilograms of payload against a segment average pushing 900, and 2,500 kilograms of towing against the 3,500 kilogram standard every tradie actually needs. Today I am counting down 10 things BYD does not put in the brochure, ranked from bad to absolutely brutal. By the end of this, you'll know exactly which spec sheet numbers to check before you sign, which tax break quietly disappeared under buyers' feet, and why the worst item on this list has nothing to do with towing or payload at all. Stick with me to the end, because the number one entry is the one that should genuinely worry you. I spent 15 years valuing cars at auction, and I can tell you this for free. The cars that lose the most money aren't the ones with a bad reputation. They're the ones nobody warned buyers about before the hammer fell. That's the only reason I make these videos. Everything in this one is pulled straight from documented sources, CarExpert's own reporting, ANCAP's official safety rating, carsales.com.au quote coverage of the tax changes, and real reviews from CarsGuide and RACV who've actually driven the thing. Nothing here is a guess. If you're cross-shopping a ute or an EV in Australia right now, genuinely subscribe. I do one of these deep dives most weeks, and I'd rather you find out the ugly stuff from me than from a service invoice in 18 months. Coming in at number 10, the rotating touchscreen and its driver assist glitches. The Shark 6 leans hard on tech to sell the future ute pitch. The problem is when that tech gets it wrong on the road. In real-world testing, the traffic sign recognition has displayed a speed limit of 150 kilometers an hour on a normal Australian road. The lane keeping assist has also been described as pushy, nudging the wheel when it shouldn't. Let me put that in plain language. A system meant to protect you is occasionally just making things up. Up next is number 9. Number 9. No top tether anchorage in the rear center seat. This one's simple, and it's not really up for debate. If you've got 3 kids, and you need a child seat in the middle of the back row, BYD's own documentation says installation there is not recommended, because there's no top tether point to anchor it properly. For a vehicle marketed at families and tradies alike, that's a real gap, not a footnote. Number 8. A weak score on protecting people outside the car. Now, to be fair, ANCAP gave the Shark 6 a full 5-star rating overall, and it scored well across 3 of the 4 test categories. But it fell down specifically on vulnerable road user protection, pedestrians, cyclists, the people who aren't wrapped in steel and airbags. I'm ranking this above the missing tether point, because a 5-star car with 1 weak category is still, on balance, a safer proposition day-to-day than a seating position with 0 protection at all. But it's worth knowing which category BYD chose to under-engineer. Number 7. There's no factory brake controller for towing. Genuinely, this one surprised me. Most trailers over 750 kilograms GTM legally need electric trailer brakes in Australia. A dedicated tow vehicle without a factory brake controller means aftermarket work, extra cost, and one more thing BYD didn't mention when they compared this to the HiLux. Quick favor before we hit the top 5. If this is genuinely useful, give the like button a tap. The top 5 picks are where the real money disappears, and I want the algorithm to push this in front of as many Aussies as possible before they sign. Cheers. On we go. Number 6. The performance variant eats its own payload. Here's where it gets almost funny, in a bad way. BYD's answer to the towing complaints was the Shark 6 performance. Except the extra weight needed to fix towing drops maximum payload to 725 kilograms, down from 790 on the original. You pay more for a truck that carries less. Number 5. BYD basically admitted the original tow rating wasn't good enough. And they admitted it after more than 23,000 people had already bought one. The Shark 6 performance directly answers the exact criticism buyers raised about towing capacity. Would you sign a contract knowing the fix was already being built for the next customer, not you? I wouldn't. Number 4. The original towing number, and BYD's response to the criticism. The Shark 6 launched well under the segment standard, and when it was put to BYD's local importer directly, the response was, reported by Teslarati via drive.com.au, was roughly along the lines of, yes, 3,500 kilograms is the industry number, but 2,500 is BYD's number, and they're entirely comfortable with that. That's not a spec limitation. That's a company telling you, in public, that the gap is intentional. Number 3, the tax break bait and switch. This is the one that actually cost people real money, in writing, before they even noticed. From the 1st of April, 2025, plug-in hybrids like the Shark 6 stopped qualifying as zero or low emissions vehicles under the FBT rules. If you've watched my last video on novated lease traps, you already know how brutal these tax cliffs can be. This is the same story, different badge. The novated lease pitch that convinced a lot of buyers to sign simply stopped applying. The maths on the deal they were shown doesn't work anymore. Number 2, the tray you can't actually customize. If you're a tradie who needs a custom tray on the well side, you're locked out. High voltage cables, the EVAP system, a leak detection pump, and the V2L cables are permanently fixed there. Touch them without a BYD certified technician, and you're not just risking a shock. You're voiding your warranty on the spot. For a vehicle-chasing tradie buyers specifically, that's a 5-figure mistake waiting to happen for anyone who didn't read the fine print. And topping the list at number 1, the 1,200 owner build date scandal. I know I already opened with this number. Here's why it still earns the top spot, and why it's genuinely worse than everything else on this list. At the brand level, this wasn't contained to one model. It spanned 3 separate lines, the Atto 3, the Sealion 8, and the Shark 6, which tells you this wasn't a clerical slip in one showroom. It points to a process problem inside BYD Australia's sales pipeline itself. At the product level, for Shark 6 buyers specifically, it means the exact car you were told was fresh off a 2026 line had actually been sitting as a 2025 build. That's not cosmetic. It touches your warranty start date and how the car depreciates from the day you drive it. On the regulatory and documentation side, this issue was significant enough that CarExpert reported BYD offering full refunds to affected customers, a company-wide acknowledgement that the misrepresentation happened, not a customer's accusation BYD is disputing. And on the support side, think about what this means for trust in the paperwork generally. If the build year on the compliance plate can't be taken at face value, what else in the sale documentation are you meant to just trust? Put those 4 things together and you get one image. A car business scaling so fast to chase Ford and Toyota that even the basic facts on the contract stopped being reliable. Here's your action step, right now, today. If you're about to sign for any BYD, cross-check the actual build date on the compliance plate against what's written on your contract before you hand over a deposit. Don't assume the dealer's paperwork is correct. You are now the informed buyer, who knows something most Australians walking into a showroom today do not. So there they are. Number 10. A touchscreen that can't read a speed sign. Number 9. No tether point for your kid's seat. Number 8. Weak protection for the people outside the car. Number 7. No brake controller for towing, legally required anyway. Number 6. Pay more, carry less, in the fixed model. Number 5. BYD fixed it only after 23,000 sales. Number 4. A towing gap BYD says it's comfortable with. Number 3. A tax break that vanished mid-ownership. Number 2. A tray you're legally locked out of customizing. Number 1. 1,200 owners. And a build year that wasn't real. My honest takeaway, and it's the same one I always give. None of these things make the Shark 6 an evil car, and none of them make BYD an evil company. Cars get rushed to market, mistakes get made, and mistakes get fixed. That's normal. What isn't normal is a buyer finding out after settlement instead of before. Under Australian consumer law, you've got real rights around misleading conduct and goods not matching what was represented at the point of sale. And those rights don't disappear just because you already signed. So here's the one thing to actually do. Before you sign anything, on any car, check the build date on the plate yourself. Genuinely, are you sitting in front of a Shark 6 right now, wondering if that build date on your contract actually checks out? Did you sign a novated lease on one of these before the 1st of April, 2025, and only just found out the tax break's gone? Or are you a tradie who bought this expecting to fit a custom tray and only found out about the well side lockout after delivery? Drop your stories in the comments. The honest ones, the painful ones, the I should have watched this 6 months ago ones. All welcome. If this helped, give it a like. Hit subscribe for more straight shooting Aussie car advice, and I'll see you in the next one. Drive safe, and remember, a spec sheet is only worth something if the paperwork behind it is actually true.